Well, okay. All right, let's all stand up for the prayer. In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive our trespasses, as we forgive those who have sinned against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit, amen. Good morning again, Owen. All right, take your seats. Upo muna. Ayan. So, last meeting, anong nangyari last meeting? Do you remember? We discussed about? Yes, we discussed about cell theory, but we're not done yet with module 1. This is, today we will be finishing module 1. So, we will be discussing yung part 2 ng ating module. Now, if you refresh your BBL, there should be the PowerPoint already. So, nakalagay doon ay module 2, ay module 1, and then organelle. So, that's our discussion for today. I have also uploaded 2 activities, pero may lang naman siya, are surrounding cell types. So the deadline nun ay, 1 week from now. And like before, it's still H5P. So kaya-kaya niyong gawin niya. Like if you would like to redo your attempts, pwede naman. Alright, before I continue, sige, let's have an attendance first. Nasaan na naman ang aking? All right. So for today, this week we will be greeting each other in German. So if I call your name, greet us with Guten Tag. Now, unahan ko na kayo, walang magnanatsi salute ha. Wala, bawal. Germany is trying to move on from its past, very dark past. Do not, wag nang ungkatiin ang nakaraan. Okay? All right. So starting with Adante. Ayun. Agbagala, are you here? Ayun, hello. Irvi. Yana. Hannah. Mark Will. Ayun. Ashton. Raven. Next, Aki. Ay, next siya. Wait lang, guys. Ayan. Where are we? Liza. Julie. Deb. JB. Ted. Where is that? There. Martin. Brent. Tanri. Ayan. Lance. Jillian. Trevor. Gab. Ivan. Ayan. Jerem. Where's Jerem? Ayan. Vince. Philip. Fran. Angelo. Archie. Layo na tingin ko ba? Devin. Mariel. Stella. Inigo. Ay, si Santino pala to. Santino. Elijah. Tintag. Carlo. Kyla. Nico. Almeyo. How do I call you again? Cyrus. Okay. And then we have Aliyah. Tintag. Is there someone I skipped or did not call today? Yes. John. Tag. So that's Albano. All right. Anyone else I skipped? Okay. I believe that's everyone. All right. So since yung slides natin ay gustong-gusto na mag-next, mag-start na daw tayo. All right. So for today, these are we only have one learning objectives, pero medyo malaki ang kanyang scope. So can you read together?
The structure and function, major and subset of
All right. So we will be going through the different organelles of the typical cell. So take note, yung mga organelles na i-discuss natin today are mostly present in general cells. Ibig sabihin, majority of the cells have these characteristics. But take note, when it comes to science, there's no such thing as an absolute truth. Sa biology, ganun din. So, for this time, may mga exceptions, but we will not go through them. Instead, we will talking about yung mga common characteristics, which are described here in the terms of organelles. Now, I will try to pace it kasi medyo madami sila. So, I will try to chunk it para hindi masyadong madami. But pag medyo overwhelmed na, please tell me. Alright. So, let's have like a survey. Sige nga. What do you remember yung mga organelles? If you went through your junior high school biology, did you discuss organelles? Yes. Alright. So, can you name a few names that you might recall? Yes, Philip.
nucleus.
Yes, we have the nucleus. Cell membrane. Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. Ano po ba yung mga parts?
Ribosomes.
Ribosomes. Meron din nun. Other hand. How about dito? Sino tawag na? Wala na ba ibang naaalala? The powerhouse of the cell is called mitochondria. Ayun na yun. Ano naman yung equivalent ng energy producing for plants? How do plants produce energy? Actually, plants have mitochondria as well. They have two. They have the mitochondria and the other one which has the photosynthetic materials. It's called, starts with letter C. Yes, you have the chloroplast. So those are the famous ones, to just name a few of the organelles. So I hope that the materials that we will be discussing today are majority a review. The rest naman ay additional information. All right. Now, when we talk about organelles, take note that it means little organ. Yun yung literal translation niya. So the characteristic of an organelle is it is membrane bound. So like the cell, the organelles are inside the cell but are also membrane bound. Now, remember, anong tawag dito sa covering ng cell? Cell membrane. So we have the cell membrane. Now, not only the cell itself has a membrane, pati yung mga structures sa loob, the individual units doing their own specific functions have membrane as well. Now, take note, hindi lahat na i-discuss natin ay organelle. There are important cell structures, for example, like the ribosomes, the microtubule, which are not membrane-bound but are considered important cell structures. So the way to categorize it is if it's an organelle, may membrane siya, and it doesn't function for the cell, that's an organelle. Now, on the other hand, the cytoplasm is the combination of all the materials inside the cell. So, pag kasama na yung mga organelles, and then yung cytosol, the cytosol is the liquid inside the cell. So, if you combine all of that, that's called collectively the cytoplasm. Clear yung simulang term? Yes. All right. Now, let's go to our first organelle, the nucleus, also known as the information center of the cell. Now, if we take a look at its structure, may kita nyo na it's not a simple structure na may DNA sa loob and then meron na agad na membrane. It's much more complex than that. So, you will see here in terms of structure, it's surrounded by a double membrane structure. So, again, anong purpose ng nucleus? Anong ini-store niya sa loob? The chromatids, which are made up of? Narinig ko kanina. Yeah, DNA. So you have the chromosomes and chromatids. Pag kinondense yun, or if you break it down into its components, DNA yan. So chromosomes and chromatids are useful or a way of the nucleus to store DNA. Now, since the DNA is very vital vital to the cell's function, importante na ma-maintain yung structure or hindi ma-damage yung DNA. Now, how do the nucleus keep the integrity of that DNA? Ito yan. So, dapat meron siyang double membrane structure. Now, the entry and exit of materials are also highly regulated. So, hindi lahat basta-basta nakakapasok or nakakalabas ng nucleus. Now, they only have specific points to enter and exit, and those are called the nuclear pores. So, through the nuclear pores, the nucleus can communicate with the rest of the cell kasi nga information center siya. So, siya yung nagbibigay ng information or ng instructions for the cell to do its function. Clear so far? Yes po. Now, kung makikita nyo, the nucleus is always next to the endoplasmic reticulum or continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum. Hindi yan naghihiwalay silang dalawa. Laging pag may nucleus, may endoplasmic reticulum na kasama. So, we will be discussing why in a bit. Right. Now, in terms of function, yan, so houses chromosomes and contains the nucleoli. So the nucleoli is plural. In singular, it's nucleolus. So meron din siyang ribosome production and it is often seen under the microscope as a very dark part of the nucleus. So parang ganito din yung itsura niya. Kasi pag sa microscope, we usually use like a blue or violet dye. And because of the high amount of materials in the center, that's why its color is darker than the rest of the nucleus. Yun yung tinatawag na nucleolus. Next, the nucleoplasm, like the cytoplasm, is the mixture of materials inside the cell. So, nucleoplasm yun, or inside the nucleus. And then yung nabanggit natin kanina na nuclear pores. Alright, now, take note that usually sa mga drawing, di ba, pag nakakita tayo ng drawing ng cell, kunyari ganyan, usually they show you this is your typical cell. But in reality, cells are not always circular. May mga mahaba. So, sometimes it looks like this. Parang, pag ganyan siya. Ayan. And then, they have multiple nucleus. Kunyari yan, lahat yan nucleus. Now, if you go back to our slide, one of the notes that states there, cells may be multinucleated. So, ibig sabihin, not one, but multiple, and that's present in skeletal muscle cells. Okay, so if you take a look at your muscle cells, hindi siya pabilog like your typical cell image, yung shape niya laging pahaba. So, pahaba siya, and then may multiple na nucleus na present. Now, in biology, remember the term or remember the quote, form always follows function. So, ibig sabihin, kung anong itsura niya, may reason kung bakit gano'n yung itsura niya. Form always follows function. Now, what are skeletal muscles for? Why do we have skeletal muscle cells? It's for yes, for mobility, for movement. So the reason why we're able to move our bones is because of movement. Now, are you familiar of how your muscles work? Yes. So, in terms of its structure, hindi lang siya basta pahaba. May mga specialized protein siya that allows your cells to compress and also stretch. So, nagko-compress and stretch siya to enable movement. Now, my question would be, di ba, form always follows function. Bakit marami siyang nucleus? Kung hindi na lang siya isa lang. Why is it necessary to have multiple? Yes.
Yes lang.
Yes.
Each nucleus contains the specific DNA that it requires.
Yes, of course. So, merong importante sa DNA, the muscles require multiple nucleus because of the DNA present. So, need niya, ibig sabihin ng more instructions or more genetic material. Bakit? Why does it need more genetic material than your typical cell? Ano bang function niya? For movement. So, yes, that's one. Yes, in order to facilitate more energy production. That's one thing. Ano pa? For protein, yes. Di ba? Our cells are, our muscles are made up of protein. So, sino dito ang nag-gym? Ayan. Sige. Alright, so Nico, ikaw Alex today. Now, paano ka nagbe-build ng muscle weight? Tama ba yun? Tama ba yung term ko? How do you build muscles? Like, paano mo napapalaki yung muscles? Magbubuhat, okay? And then, pag nagbuhat ka, anong nararamdaman mo? If you're doing it right.
Mahap din mo.
Yes, tumahap din. Meaning, anong ibig sabihin nun? Bakit siya umahap, Jess?
Sira.
Nasisira. Okay. So, nagkakaroon ka ng slight muscle tearing. Now, anong sabi ng instructor mo?
Kumain daw ng food.
Yes, kumain mo ng protein para mag-repair yung muscles mo. That's why, if you like buy those protein shakes, nakalagay doon, 1,000 amino acids. Ganon. 10,000 pala nakalagay. 10,000 amino acids. That's because your protein are made up of amino acids. So once you start like muscle tearing and you eat protein, nagbo-bulk yung muscles mo. So anong nangyari doon? What is the role of the nucleus there? Nagkaroon ng? Yes, nagkaroon ng regeneration and repair. So your muscles, not only the human muscles, but animal muscles have evolved to have multiple nuclei to facilitate energy production and fast muscle repair. Clear? Yes. Okay. Kaya ganun yung itsura ng skeletal muscles natin. Now, on the other hand, the other extreme ends, red blood cells have no nuclei upon maturity. Or wala na siyang nucleus once nag-mature. So, originally, if your body is producing red blood cells, meron siyang nucleus. Kasi it will instruct the growth of the cell. But once na mature na siya, kinakain niya yung sarili niyang nucleus. So by that, I mean, it will recycle its nucleus instead. That's why your red blood cells are only alive for approximately 3 months before you need to replace it. Now, the question is, why would the cell do that? Why would it consume its own nucleus? Yes, maximize space for hemoglobin. Bakit? Ano bang purpose ng red blood cell? Or, yes, andun. Carry oxygen. So to maximize the amount of oxygen that it transports, it gets rid of its nucleus to make space. Clear so far? Yes. Kaya importante that kaya ng katawan mo magpalit ng dugo every so often kasi namamatay din sila eventually. Wala na silang pang-repair like the skeletal muscle cells. So eventually, because of the absence of the nucleus, it dies off. So you change your red blood cells regularly. Clear so far? Ang purpose ng nucleus? Yes. Alright. Now, to do all of those functions, it produces 3 types of RNA. So, ililist ko na dyan. The first one is ribosomal RNA. So, this is joined with the ribosome itself and is responsible for reading whatever instruction the nucleus will state. Now, the instruction comes in the form of messenger RNA, also known as mRNA. So, this specifies the amino acids in the sequence. Amino acids in proteins. So, kung makita niyo yung picture dito sa baba, actually, yan yung itsura niya in the cell. So, the ribosomal RNA is attached to the ribosome kasi siya yung reader nung magiging messenger RNA. Now, take note, ilang strands ang DNA? How many strands does DNA have? Yung pag-ano? Dalawa. So, to make the double helix structure. Pero actually, hindi siya kasya sa nuclear pore. So, the double-stranded siya. So, to make sure that the DNA will stay inside the nucleus and to send instruction, it will instead send messenger RNA. So, from DNA, it will produce, or the nucleus will produce mRNA, which is how many strands? Isa lang. Ayan. So, single-stranded lang siya. So, from double-stranded DNA, it will create the messenger RNA, which is single-stranded, and yun yung lalabas sa nucleus to give information. Now, it will go to the ribosome, babasahin ng ribosomal RNA, and then the tRNA will assemble. So, given the instruction on paano gawin yung protein na yon, so the tRNA participates in the assembly of amino acids during protein synthesis. So it will transfer the correct amino acid based on the messenger RNA sequence. Clear yung difference ng tatlo? Yes. All right. So shall I move to the next slide? Yes. Okay. Now, this is what it looks like in terms of production. In the ribosomes, also known as the protein factories, this is where the three RNAs will be working together. So from the nucleus, dito na siya pupunta sa ribosome. It's made up of, by the way, two subunits. Meron kang yung malaking subunit. And then meron ka nung, ano yung unang RNA? Ito yun. So, ito siya, si ribosomal RNA. So, the ribosomal RNA will scan or read the mRNA na galing sa nucleus. Okay. And then, and from that, the tRNA will assemble the amino acids. So, remember, very precise ang DNA natin. So, kung ano yung instruction from the mRNA, yun lang yung ita-transfer ng tRNA. Now, if you notice, nagkakaroon ka ng sequence. So, ito yung mga amino acids. Pag pinagsama-sama mo yung amino acids, it will become proteins. Saka siya nagiging structure. So, you can now imagine, for example, if your cells detected na meron silang sira because nag-gym ka, nag-leg day ka, ganun. So, your cells will start the repair. So, the instruction will come from, anong organelle ulit? Nucleus. And then it will send the messenger RNA to the ribosome in order to create the protein that will repair your muscle. Clear so far? Okay. Now, there are two locations where ribosomes can be located. Pwede siyang nasa cytosol, so free-floating, especially for bacteria. They don't have complex organelles. Therefore, it's just free-floating in the liquid inside the cell. For complex organisms, it's bound to the, ano to?
Rough endoplasmic reticulum.
The rough endoplasmic reticulum. Now, if you take a look at this, ayan. So this is our organelle number 3, the endoplasmic reticulum, also known as the biosynthetic factory. Now, nabanggit ko kanina that the nucleus is always next to the ER because they work closely with one another. Para mabilis ang instruction and communication, our cells evolved to have the nucleus next to the ER to produce the molecules needed by the body. In terms of structure, it is membrane-bound and hindi siya pabilog. Instead, meron siyang mga folds called the cisternae. It also have a liquid inside called the lumen and is always continuous with the nuclear envelope. So, may kita nyo dito yung difference nung dalawang types of endoplasmic reticulum. In terms of structure, ayan, rough and smooth. So, obviously, yung smooth, wala siyang mga dots. Ano yung mga dots? Ribosome. So, the ribosomes makes the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Na tinawag lang siyang rough kasi under the microscope, mukha siyang may rough or may texture because of the presence of the ribosome. And then the other one is smooth kasi wala siyang ribosomes present. Ay, wait. Balik tayo dun sa, ayan. Alright. Now, what's the difference of the two? Because of the presence and absence of the rough and of the ribosome, magkaiba yung kanilang function. So the first one, smooth ER, kindly read the function.
Of the base.
Cation, storage, detoxification of drugs and poisons.
Okay. So, the smooth ER actually plays a big role in terms of our health. So, for example, pag mataas, usually, I don't endorse alcohol ha, pero this is a learning opportunity. So, sasabihin natin, a young person, hindi pa siya marunong uminom. So, dapat lang malamang yan ay ayaw na niya. Mahilo na siya. But actually, the person, after a while, di ba, it builds tolerance. So, how does a person build tolerance? Dapat, na-expose. Now, ang nangyayari kasi, your body adjusts. So, since mataas lagi yung alcohol content mo, your body will start adjusting. How exactly does it adjust? It produces more smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So the adjustment happens in the cellular level. So makikita mo dito, detoxification of drugs and poisons. So, diba, sabihin natin bata pa siya, so may inom na siya. After a while, your cells will start adjusting para ma-accommodate yung high level of alcohol. So it will produce more and more smooth ER to keep filtering out the drugs and poisons. Now, in this case, it's called alcohol. Kaya minsan, yung mga nasa, yung basta weekend, nasa kalsada, tapos inaabot ng madaling araw, you can imagine, ang dami siguro nilang smooth ER, especially in their kidneys and liver. Kasi nga, it accommodates the high amount of alcohol. But of course, may limitation yon. Your body can only produce so much smooth ER, and then nagkakaroon ka na ng mga diseases and so on. Now, there is another downside. Dahil, one time, pumunta ako sa dentist. And then, ang tagal ng pila. So, nakaganyan lang ako. Lumabas yung dentist, din kausap yung lalaki sa tabi ko. So, this guy, as in, talaga siya. Mga 30s na siguro, so mama na talaga siya. Tapos sabi sa kanya, Sir, madalas pa po bang uminom? Kasama niya asawa. So yung asawa niya, ay po, hindi na lang gabi-gabi na lang. And then sabi niya, ay sir, kaso if tutuloy po tayo sa tooth removal nyo, hindi po tatalab yung siya. Kasi nga, the person has a high amount of smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So kahit lagyan siya ng anesthesia, sanay na yung katawan niya, yung cells niya magtanggal nun. So siguro gagana lang siya saglit, ayun na, ramdam na siya. So, yun. Ang tanong ng dentist ay, tutuloy po ba tayo? Hindi po. So, walis lang. Ayun. Now, that's actually a problem, especially the medical field. Before surgery, kaya kailangan nagpe-prep eh. Like, they ask you question like, madalas ka ba umiinom and stuff. Kasi nga, kahit mag-surgery ka, papatulogin ka, baka magising ka during surgery. Kasi nga, your body is very used to it. Nagiging concern siya. That's why some patients are encouraged to parang limit their alcohol intake, especially if there is a schedule for surgery. Kaya hindi pwedeng basta-basta mag-surgery. Ititignan muna nila kung anong capabilities ng katawan mo, and so on. Now, the good thing is, it's reversible. Reversible naman siya. So, if, for example, your body detects na ang dami mong smooth ER, your cells are efficient. If the cells detect that you are no longer using your smooth ER, it will start breaking down the excess smooth ER to recycle to all the materials instead. Yeah. May question kayo about your smooth ER. Very trustworthy ang smooth ER natin. Now, in other functions, it can metabolize carbohydrates as well. So, pag kumakain kayo ng kanin, so for example, pasta, bread, it metabolizes the carbohydrates and then kino-convert niya into lipids, or also known as fat. There we go. So that's the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Next, you have the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So like we mentioned, it contains the ribosomes, which enables it to produce proteins. Aside from that, it can produce glycoproteins, which it does by adding anong element to? C? Carbon? followed by hydrogen, oxygen, which is the component of carbohydrate. Glycoprotein. Okay, so importante yan, if the cell requires new membranes or new organelles, it will require the help of the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Clear ang function? Yes. Ready na kayo for organelle number 4? Okay. Hanggang 4 muna tayo and then we'll summarize the 4. Alright. Now, once na na-produce na yung materials, hindi pa tapos dahil you have to also bring it and process it before sending it to its final destination. And that's the responsibility of the Golgi apparatus. Or Golgi, I'm not sure. Basta okay lang yan. Basta nagkakaintindihan tayo. In another book, it's also called the Golgi body. Those are acceptable terms. Now, in terms of structure, it's similar to the rough endoplasmic reticulum, wherein it's made up of membranous sac. But meron lang siyang polarity, meaning may parts. So the cis part is the one facing the endoplasmic reticulum. Siya yung receiving center. And then, yung trans part naman is usually the one facing the outer or yung cell membrane. So, siya naman yung shipping part. So, very organized. Meron siyang cis phase, which is the receiving, and then shipping naman on the other side. Alright. Now, it will modify the proteins and carbohydrates. For example, if merong malaking protein na kailangan i-produce. So, the protein part will be produced by the rough ER, and then the other parts will be produced by the smooth ER. Now, the Golgi can combine those molecules to make bigger molecules. So, dito niya nilalagay, synthesis of many polysaccharides. So, pag sinabi nating poly, anong ibig sabihin nun? Marami. So, pag malalaking structures, it has to go through the Golgi apparatus first for further modification bago siya ilabas. Now, yung packaging niya, yung mga bilog na yan, that's called a vesicle. So, again, the package of, for example, from the ER, paano niya ipapadala, that's through a vesicle. So, the vesicle will transport the materials here from the ER, bring it to the cis phase of the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus will modify it. Then, it will be shipped out from the trans phase. And then, ita-transport na ulit siya through another vesicle. Kuha? Yes. Okay. Ulit-ulit tayo. Okay. Again, ano yung two parts ng, or two polarities ng Golgi apparatus? This phase and the trans phase. Ano yung shipping? Trans phase. Ano yung receiving? Okay. So from the cis phase, it will receive the products from the ER. Ano ulit yung carrier o yung packaging? Vesicle. So the vesicles will be excreted from the ER to the Golgi. It will be received by the cis phase of the Golgi apparatus. Mamomodify na siya dito depending on anumang kailangan ng cell. And then, it will transport the materials using the trans phase and then sa vesicle din. Ang transportation. Clear so far? Meron bang clarification or question about the 4 cell structures? Yes, Fran?
Di ba po, sa trans space ko is inalabas ko ng vesicle ko yung ano po, may parang pag-ano po na part na doon po sa other side.
Ito?
Yan.
Ito. Ang nangyayari dyan, di ba, meron kang plasma membrane. So, sabihin natin that the material is not needed inside the cell, but is instead needed outside. So, dito siya, ang mangyayari sa kanya, mag-fuse lang siya dun sa plasma membrane. Kasi remember, these are membranes. So, madali silang maghalo in terms of material. So, mag-fuse lang siya dun, and then malalabas na niya yung item. Yun. Clarification? Other clarifications? Okay. Sige, pagsama-samahin natin yung 4. Ano ulit yung first one? Second? Ribosome. Third?
Endoplasmic reticulum.
And lastly, okay, the Golgi apparatus. Now, all together, that's something called the endomembrane system. Now, the endomembrane system is crucial to many of your body functions because it produces, packages, and exports cellular products. Now, for example, yeah. So, let's example natin ay milk. So, milk is a special substance that are only produced in what type of animal? Mammal lang. The only mammals are able to produce milk using what type of gland? Now, take note, pag sinabi natin glands, they usually produce something. So, pag sinabi natin sebum gland, so usually found in your skin to produce oils. Meron din tayong mga enzymatic gland which produces different enzymes. Pwedeng nasa tiyan yun, digestive enzymes, whether in your mouth, which is the salivary enzymes. So, that means your body or your, particularly your glands, must be able to produce these things. So, paano yun? Endomembrane system. So, let's go through the steps. Ay, wala. Ayan. Okay. So, let's go through the steps. Now, ano yung naaalala yung components ng milk? Calcium, of course. What else? Sugar. Yes, it also contains sugar. Huh? Protein. Meron din siyang protein. So, specifically, casein ang tawag dun sa protein. Yes, it has the lactose, which is a type of sugar. Ano pa? Yes. Huh? Yes, it also has fats. So milk is quite a complex mixture, but it's very important for the young. Therefore, the materials present in milk must be complete. Now, the instructions for the production of its components are located where? Again, the instructions for the production of milk components is located where? Nucleus. Alright. So, sa nucleus na nakalagay kung paano ipoproduce yung mga proteins, mga lipids present in milk, and also yung sugar din niya. So, that will be present in the form of DNA. Pero again, the DNA cannot fit through the nuclear pore. Instead, it will produce a single-stranded, a single-stranded mRNA. So, the mRNA will exit through, anong tawag dito sa mga holes? Yes, the nuclear pore. So the mRNA will exit through the nuclear pore and will go to the endoplasmic reticulum. So the lipids will be produced in the smooth or rough? Again, lipids are produced where? Smooth or rough? Smooth. Okay, so yung mga fats ng milk, ipoproduce na yun sa smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Yung calcium, saan galing? Smooth or rough? Calcium. Sabi niyo may calcium ang milk. O, balik tayo sa slide. O, yan. Okay. Again, saan nanggagaling yung calcium? Smooth. Saan manggagaling yung lipid? Saan po manggagaling yung protein called casein? Rough endoplasmic reticulum. So, spelling ng casein, ganito. C-A-S-I-N. So, that's the casein pala. Casein or casein, that's the protein present in milk. All right. So far, the endoplasmic reticulum will produce those materials. All right. And then, it will be transported to, kasi pagsasama-samahin niya eh. So, which organelle will combine all these materials? Golgi. The Golgi apparatus will combine these materials. Pero kailangan makarating muna siya dun sa Golgi. Anong tawag dun sa packaging? Okay, so the vesicle will transport the materials from the endoplasmic reticulum to which phase? Cis phase. So the cis phase will receive the vesicle and then pagsasamahin niya na yung materials dito. Then, it will be excreted to anong part ng Golgi? Transport phase or the transphase. So it will now transport dun sa transphase and then mag-exit na siya. So the milk is not necessary inside the cell. Instead, it will collect in the milk ducts. So ibig sabihin, for example, there's a mother cat. How does a mother cat produce milk? Ibig sabihin, all of its cells in the mammary gland does this 24/7. So 24/7 working yung mammary glands in order to combine all the milk in the milk duct. Masastore siya doon until gamitin na siya or makonsume na siya nung young. Clear yung process ng endomembrane system? Diba? Bawal magkamali. Tapos pag nagkamali, iba na yung lasa. Iba yung components ng magiging milk. So, ganun din, for example, yung cows, for example. So, cows, diba? We are highly dependent on them in terms of supply of milk. Yung mga cows naman that we have raised through the generations, their cells have started to evolve to accommodate the high production. All right, so the following, yes. Ano yun? Huh? Okay, sige. So which organelles are responsible for cell maintenance? We have 3. Go ahead. So we have 3 in total, the lysosome, the peroxisome, and the vacuole. Now, in terms of function, wala siyang specific production, but opposite siya ng mga nauna. Instead, it maintains structure and maintains the cell maintenance. So, ibig sabihin, if there are materials that are not needed or need to be broken down into its molecular components, silang tatlo ang responsible. So the first one, you have the lysosome or the digestive compartment. So it is produced by the Golgi apparatus. Tandaan yung vesicle na nabanggit natin kanina. Now the vesicles are very flexible materials. Marami silang uses. And one of them is through the production of lysosomes. Now in cases, for example, the body produce or for example, na-detect ng katawan na sira yung isang mitochondria or the cell detected the mitochondria is broken, so kailangan na niyang i-recreate or sisirain niya na yung mitochondria. So, it will send the lysosome. So, the vesicle called the lysosome has a very low pH. So, ibig sabihin siya ay acidic or basic? Acidic. Pag basic, mataas yun. Yung pH nun mataas. Pag low, acidic yun. So, it contains acids and powerful hydrolytic digestive enzymes. Pag sinabi natin hydrolytic, it adds free hydrogen ions dun sa material which makes it unstable. Kaya nasisira siya. So, inactive siya usually. So, meaning, meron siyang vesicle, meron siyang enzymes dyan, pero hindi ginagamit. Pero once na-activate siya ng Golgi apparatus, it will fuse whichever material it needs to consume. In terms of structure, it's only one membrane. And yan, meron na siyang hydrolytic enzymes. And yan yung sinasabi niyang function. Alright, so in terms of example, one example of the use of lysosome is through phagocytosis. So phago means to eat. So in case, for example, yung mga amoeba, which is a unicellular organism, let's say that it's trying to consume food from its environment. So the food will enter the cell membrane and then i-contain din siya dito. Now, take note, may mga books na ginagamit interchangeably ang vacuole tsaka vesicle. Now, they mean the same thing. Yung pinaka-carrier ang meaning niya doon. Alright, so here, nakalagay na sa isang vesicle yung food and then the lysosome will be activated. It will fuse with the food vesicle para ma-release yung digestive enzymes. So by exposing the food to the digestive enzymes, matadigest niya na kung anong mga particle yon. Kasi remember, some cells are only unicellular. So ibig sabihin, they don't have the digestive system like we do. Instead, they do it in a cellular level. So again, lysosome contains the digestive enzymes. It will fuse with the food vesicle, exposing the food vesicle dun sa enzymes para ma-digest siya. Go ahead. Yeah. So that's phagocytosis. On other function, ito yung nabanggit ko kanina, may tinatawag tayong autophagy or autophagy. Auto means self. Actually, self ang meaning nun. So, dito, kinakain niya yung sarili niyang parts which are damaged or no longer useful. So, for example, you have mitochondria that is no longer useful. Therefore, it will use the lysosome to digest it. So, dito makikita nyo, nag-fuse ulit yung lysosome dun sa vesicle containing the mitochondria, and it will start digesting the material inside the vesicle. And then, gagamitin niya na ulit yon. Once the mitochondria or the damaged mitochondria is broken down into its molecular components, gagamitin na ulit siya sa production naman ng ibang pang proteins and other materials. Clear so far ang purpose ng lysosome? Yes. Right. Next, you have the vacuole. Now, the vacuole has another function in plants. So, kung mapapansin nyo dito, this is a transmission electron microscope. Yun yung symbol. Yes, how are you? Ano daw sabi? Saan sabi? Dito ka ba muna? If ever, pwede ka magpasundo. Check mo lang naman. Kailangan po pasundo. Ayan, okay. So you have the transmission electron microscope. Ito yung itsura niya under the microscope. So again, hindi ito basta light microscope. It's a transmission electron microscope. Now, this is one plant cell, and then ito then. Now, if you notice, the chloroplast is pushed to the side of the cell because here, makita natin yung vacuole wherein it contains water. So this is the central part of plant cells, and it is filled with water fluid to give support to the cell. Remember that plants do not have a skeletal system. So wala silang way to keep themselves upright unless they use a vacuole. So they keep water in high amounts inside their cell to maintain the structure. And then yung pigments, ayan, nandito na yan sa kanilang gilid. Kaya di ba pag natuyo yung halaman, parang sobrang lanta na niya, nasisira niya yung cells niya. So, ibig sabihin, yung vacuoles niya, nag-escape na yung water. Kaya nawawalan siya ng shape. And then, pag nilagyan mo ulit or diniligan mo ulit, pabalik na siya sa dati niyang form. Okay. Alright. So, next naman is the peroxisome. So, the peroxisome is also for metabolism, pero it uses a different mechanism. Yung kanina, yung sa ating lysosome, it uses hydrolytic enzymes. For the peroxisome, it uses a different type, hydrogen peroxide. So, yung purpose niya is different. Kasi iba yung purpose, or iba yung kayang i-digest ng lysosome, iba naman sa peroxisome. So, in this case, it converts, using hydrogen peroxide, it converts or breaks down the material into water. So, ang process niya, di ba, H2O2, lalagyan niya ng hydrogen, lalagyan niya ng oxygen, yung materials, hanggang maging water. Ganun ang kanyang chemical breakdown. Like, ganun lang naman siya. Now, there are, I forgot what it's called. May isang genetic wherein they found a very rare genetic disease wherein, di ba, ang peroxisome, for example, ay membrane bound. Now, there is a genetic disease wherein butas yung peroxisome niya. So, instead of contained yung kanyang hydrogen peroxide inside the organelle, it leaks into the cell. Na-imagine nyo ba yung ibig sabihin, yung mga parts na hindi naman nadadigest siya. So, ibig sabihin, every cell of the person's body leaks the hydrogen peroxide. Lagi siyang may hydrogen peroxide, which damages the internal cellular structure. Yun. May mga ganong cases, unfortunately, pero very rare. And, yun. Alright. Clear ba yung tatlo? Ano ulit yung first digestive organelle? What is the organelle that keeps water in plant cells? Vacuole. And lastly, the oxidation process naman for breakdown is conducted by peroxisome. Okay. So again ha, yung first two, huwag kayong malito, you have the lysosome. This is also digestive, pero ang gamit ay, ayun, hydrolytic enzymes. Then for peroxisome, it's also the same. It's also digestive, but it uses a different component, hydrogen peroxide. Now, that is necessary, especially for larger molecules. So, for example, ito, yung mitochondria na damage, dalawa ang ginamit niya to make sure that it will be completely metabolized. So, you have the lysosome and the peroxisome acting on the digestion of the organelles. Kuha naman. Okay. Oops. Tignan natin ha. Kaya natin tapusin today. Ay, kaya nyo pa ba? Kaya pa? Kakayanin. Alright. We only have 3. Wait lang, hanggang anong oras tayo? Hindi kaya. Hindi kaya. Okay. Yeah, meron pa tayong 20 minutes. Alright. So the next part is, in this case, the ones that, eto, energy production naman tayo. So, tapos na yung endomembrane system. You also have the ones that maintain our cells, or, yan, ito naman yung energy production is done by mitochondria, and also this, the plastid. Now, I mentioned earlier the word chloroplast. Chloroplast is just one of the examples of a plastid. Pag sinabi natin plastid, this is a double membrane structure. So if you notice dito sa kanyang structure, meron siyang outer membrane and inner membrane. Now, it is a double layered structure that is responsible for photosynthesis. Kung makikita niyo yung internal niya, it's very complex, no? So the stroma is the liquid or the matrix inside the plastid, and then meron pa siyang maliliit na set na parts called the thylakoid. Excuse me. So, ganito yung kanyang label. So, you have the thylakoid, yun yung maliliit lang na pa-circuit. Ito. So, the thylakoid is one photosynthetic unit. So, that means photosynthesis occurs here, dito sa thylakoid. Then, lahat sila, all of them are performing photosynthesis at the same time. Okay? So, very important yung mga membranes ng thylakoid, which you will learn later because it facilitates the reaction of photosynthesis. So, dito, yung thylakoid, yung individual units. Pag pinagsama mo yung mga units ng thylakoid is called a grana. And then, dito naman yung liquid called the stroma. So, where is the chloroplast located in the list of plastids? So, pag sinabi nating plastid, marami yon. Depende kung anong type of pigment present sa plants. So, pag color green, of course, that's the chloroplast. Now, you notice that not all plants are color green. May mga exceptions. Meron yung medyo red yung color. So, instead of having chloroplast, instead they have chromoplast naman. And then, meron din yung parang faded yung color niya. Yung parang medyo whitish yung color. Leucoplast naman yung meron sila. So, depending on the type of plant, kung anong type of plastid ang meron sila. So, for chromoplast, they have yellow, orange, or red in color. May mga alam ba kayong plants that are sort of reddish, yellow, orange? Yes, yeah, may mga flowers na ganun yung color. Pero ginagawa naman na yun to attract the pollinators naman. For photosynthesis, I think poinsettia ata yung binabanggit mo, dear. Yun ba yun? Yung pang Pasko, di ba pag Pasko, yung parang malaki siyang bulaklak. Pero actually, yun yung dahon niya. Dahon yun. Yung gitna na color yellow, yun lang yung flower niya. So those are specialized leaves ang tawag doon. So instead, they have chromoplast. You also have the leucoplast. Alam niyo yung nung pandemic, yung kinakalokohan ng mga plantito and plantita, yung mga variegated, mga ganun-ganun. Yung mga dahon niya, instead of being perfectly green, may mga white parts. Sobrang mahal na ng pandemic. Pero yeah, that's because they do have the leucoplast instead. So medyo faded yung color niya because they have a different type of plant. Okay. So that's for plant. Now, for other organisms like us, animals, we have the mitochondrion, or in plural, the mitochondria. Like the plastids, it's also double membranes, so may inner and outer. Instead of having the thylakoid in the plastid, they have the inner membrane, which is called the cristae. And ang purpose niya, cellular respiration or the breakdown of sugars. Okay. So in-skip ko na yung slide na yon kasi it simply states the structure, ayan, intermembrane and mitochondrial matrix. All right. So let's compare the two because these two are responsible for energy production. So kung makikita nyo dito, they contain their own DNA and ribosomes. So again, hindi lang nucleus actually ang merong DNA. It's also present in the mitochondria and chloroplast. Kasi in a way, they sort of function individually. Diba? Double membrane, siyang matrix, and it facilitates its own production. So, madali. For example, if the cell requires energy, it doesn't have to wait instructions from the nucleus. Pwedeng mitochondria na mismo. So, for example, meron ba dito mga runner? You have runners here in... Yes, you do. Okay. Ano yung feeling pag, kunyari, di ba? First 10 minutes.
Medyo masakit.
Tapos, eventually, pag continue mo pa din,
Or ito nawawala.
nawawala siya, di ba? So, that means your body detects that you're using energy. So, your mitochondria is adjusting. So, at first, meron lang siyang normal amount of energy produced. And then, once na parang na-overcome mo yun, yung first 10 minutes, your body shifts. Kasi, your body becomes more efficient in the production of energy. Kaya, nawawala yung parang first 10 minutes na lang. That's because of your mitochondria. Now, that is very efficient. Mabilis yun. Hindi yan na hinihintay yung nucleus because the instructions are already there inside the mitochondria. Okay? So, ganun din for plants. The plants also have independent chloroplasts kasi may DNA and ribosomes sa sila. Right. So, both of them are also double membranes. They also have their own inner fluid. Magkaiba lang yung tawag. For mitochondria, it's called the matrix. Then for chloroplasts, it's called the stroma. In terms of products they produce, what's this?
Adenosine triphosphate.
Adenosine triphosphate for the mitochondria, which is a chemical currency, and then sugars naman, or glucose for chloroplast. Now, in terms of presence, all eukaryotic cells. So, ibig sabihin, as long as merong nucleus yung cell na yon, meron din siyang mitochondria. Okay? How about sa chloroplast? Basta photosynthetic, merong yung chloroplast. Do plants have mitochondria? Do plants have mitochondria? Sabi dito, nearly all eukaryotic cells. As long, ang sabi ko kanina, as long as may nucleus, meron siyang mitochondria. So, the question is, do plants have mitochondria?
Yeah.
Yes. Ang maganda sa plants, they don't only use chloroplast. Parehas sa kanila. They have a mitochondria, they also have a chloroplast. They are more efficient than sa animals, which only have mitochondria. Wala tayong chloroplast. Hindi naman tayo color green. So, wala. Yun lang. Clear yung dalawa? Energy production? Okay na. Sige, last na to, guys. Onting kapit na lang. There we go. Lastly, now this one is not an organelle per se, but it's necessary in terms of the function of the cell. You have the cell membrane, also known as the plasma membrane. Now, kung makita niyo yung picture, it's a very busy structure. Mapapansin niyo may mga proteins, carbohydrates, and so on, which are present Okay, so it consists of a double lipid bilayer of phospholipids. Phospholipids yung kanyang pinaka-structure. So, this individual ones, ito, yung parang bilog na may dalawang line, yun yung phospholipids. So, they are the selective barrier. So, ibig sabihin, hindi nila pinapapasok basta-basta yung materials. They are a selective barrier that allows the passage of oxygen, nutrients, and exit naman ng wastes. Ay, may 11 pala. Alright. Now, take note, mapapansin nyo may mga glycoproteins dun sa taas, tsaka mga globular proteins. Very important yun sa pag-distinguish ng cellular identity. Meaning, you, as a person, have a very unique set of proteins. That's why, hindi ka basta-basta pwedeng mag-transfer ng dugo. Kasi, yung mga proteins na yun are the important, which makes up your blood type. So, kung meron kang type A, yung type A protein yung meron sa red blood. So, pag nilagyan mo ng type B, your body will panic. Kasi, iba yan, ibang nilalang yan. So, aatakihin niyo yung sarili ng dugo, which leads to health complication. That's why it's very important, iba, bago ka mag-surgery, which is usually nangyayari ko sa mga drama, di ba? I-check kung compatible kayo ng kidney. Tapos parents mo siya, tapos kayo compatible, gano'n. Kasi the body recognizes its own. You have your own identity marker. Genetically, may pagkaparehas kayo ng parents mo, syempre, kasi galing in terms of genes. But, yung mga yun, yung mga proteins sa yung cell membrane is responsible for establishing the identity of the cells. So, the blood does that. Sa mga organs din. That's why you have to first test kung compatible sila or hindi. Otherwise, your body will attack. Okay. There was, I think that was last year, kasi nagkakaroon ng, there was always been a shortage in heart transplants. Kasi, syempre, kailangan medyo buhay for individual to do a transplant. So, they tried doing, tinatawag na sino transplant. Have you heard of that? Sino transplant. Pag sinabi natin sino, you get it from a living thing that was not a human. Galing siya sa, galing siya sa pig. Ano ba mo?
Sa pig.
Ang nangyari, the person is going to die. That lalaki siya. So he was going to die. And then they told him na let's try doing a xenotransplant instead. So they got a pig's heart and then tinanggal nila to, yung mga identity markers. So they used inhibitors to remove the identity markers and then they lowered the immune response of the individual. So nilagay nila doon. So tingnan nila kung ano mangyari. So ano nangyari? Yeah, it did not. Nagising pa siya eh. He was alive for 3 months. And then the body reacted. Kasi kahit ni-diminish nila, they cannot diminish it forever. So, inatake niyo sa